Okay, so today we're going deep on something pretty interesting, I think.
Yeah.
This whole idea of like small but consistent improvements.
Mm-hmm.
It's often called the 1% rule, and
Sure.
you've given me some really fascinating material on this.
Yeah.
And what we're going to try to do is like pull out the key insights here for you, the listener.
Exactly.
And really like zero in on how even like tiny tweaks can end up leading to these really surprisingly big results in all sorts of areas of life.
Absolutely. And not getting bogged down in like a bunch of theory,
Yeah.
but like really, really practical stuff here
Exactly.
about how these little by little gains,
Yeah.
if you just stick with them,
Uh-huh.
can really build momentum and lead to outcomes that like right now might just seem way out of reach.
Yeah, and it's almost like flipping the script on how we normally think about these things.
Totally.
Instead of trying to do these like huge like I'm going to change my entire life kind of thing.
Right.
It's like no, just focus on these small wins and let them kind of snowball.
It's almost like the big achievements we see, like these moments of like, oh wow,
Uh-huh.
they're usually not this like one giant leap.
Yeah.
It's like a string of small wins.
Yeah.
Day after day.
I love that.
That leads to that.
Okay, so let's jump right into it.
Yeah.
One of the stories that you flagged in the material
Yeah.
was this really interesting example of the British cycling team.
Okay.
And before 2008,
Yeah.
their track record
What?
was not exactly stellar,
No, not great.
to say the least.
They had one gold medal in like 100 years.
One gold medal in a century.
Yeah.
Like,
Talk about low expectations.
it really sets the scene for a team that like wasn't exactly
Underdogs.
yeah, underdogs in the world of competitive cycling, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And like everyone kind of, when they showed up to the international competitions, it was just sort of like,
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, okay, here comes
they're going to get lapped.
yeah, like good for you for showing up.
Right, exactly.
But then comes along this guy Dave Brailsford.
Yeah.
And he brings in this whole new philosophy
Totally.
that is really focused on this idea of marginal gains.
Uh-huh.
So not these massive overhauls, not these like we need to completely reinvent the wheel, but these tiny like 1% improvements in just about everything they could think of.
Yeah.
And it really makes you wonder, like, where do you even start with that?
Well, I think what's interesting about it is that by focusing on such tiny increments,
Yeah.
you're often like below the radar of resistance.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Like it's a lot easier to commit to like a 1% change than like a 50% change.
Yeah.
So it becomes much more like sustainable in the long run.
Yeah, it's less intimidating too.
It's way less intimidating.
It's not this like huge mountain to climb. It's
Yeah.
just like, okay.
Just a little nudge.
Yeah, I can do this little thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So where did they start? Like what were some of the things that they actually looked at?
They looked everywhere.
Everywhere. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and some of the examples in your material are really surprising.
Yeah.
I mean, like you wouldn't think that this would be
Yeah.
like high on the list, but they adjusted the riders' bike seats for better posture.
Okay. Yeah.
Like you wouldn't think that would be the thing for peak athletic performance.
No, you think like, oh, cutting edge training methods or
Right. Or like nutrition.
yeah, or like new like space age materials for the bikes or something like that.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. But they're like, no, we need these guys to be like sitting properly
Yeah.
on the bike.
Interesting. Okay, what else?
They focused on the pillows that the athletes were using
The pillow.
to get better sleep
Okay.
because they understood how crucial recovery was.
Yeah,
They even went so far as to like optimize their hand washing
you're
techniques
hand washing.
to cut down on illness
Yeah.
within the team.
So like to not get sick.
Just all these little things
Wow.
that collectively just made this huge difference.
It's like all these little things you don't think about.
Yeah.
You're like, no.
These matter.
All of it matters.
All of it matters.
It's like the little things add up.
Yeah, I think the key insight there
Yeah.
is that like no single one of these improvements was like the magic bullet.
Right.
Like just tweaking a bike seat
Yeah.
wouldn't make a team Olympic champions.
Right. It's not like, oh, we finally found the secret.
Right.
It was the bike seat all along.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
The real power was in the synergy.
Okay.
Like the way that these small advantages added up across so many different areas.
Yeah.
Each tiny gain kind of supported and amplified the others.
I like that. It's like they all work together.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so what happened?
Well,
Did it butcher?
I mean, the results speak for themselves.
Okay.
2012 London Olympics.
Yeah.
British cycling team just crushed it.
Yeah.
They won an incredible 70% of all the gold medals in cycling.
70%. So like more than 2/3.
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
That is a complete U-turn
That's insane.
from where they were historically.
Yeah.
I mean, it really it makes you rethink what's possible with these consistent small changes.
Yeah, you would never think just like hand washing and pillows and bike seats would lead to Olympic dominance.
Yeah.
But there it is.
Yeah. I think what's crucial for the listener here is to see that, like, okay, this is a story from, the high stakes world of professional sports.
Right.
But this core principle isn't just for elite athletes.
Right.
This idea that consistent small improvements can lead to remarkable results.
Yeah.
Applies across the board.
It's universal.
Whether it's your career goals, your health and fitness, your relationships, any personal ambition that you're pursuing.
Yeah, like anything where you want to get better.
Yeah.
This applies.
Absolutely.
I love that. And it really makes you think about like all those areas in your life where, maybe you're aiming for these like huge sweeping changes all at once, like the New Year's resolution type of thinking.
Right.
And maybe shifting the focus to smaller, more manageable daily improvements could actually be like a more effective approach.
For sure.
Less overwhelming too.
Way less overwhelming, and you're more likely to stick with it.
Yeah, because if you feel like you're failing all the time, you just give up.
I'm just going to quit.
Yeah. So we've got these small changes. We're consistently implementing them. But what about when we don't see results right away?
This is a huge point.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to get discouraged.
Totally.
When you're putting in the effort, but you're not seeing the payoff.
Yeah, it feels like, why am I even bothering?
Yeah, exactly.
And this is where I think this next idea from the sources is just brilliant.
The ice cube theory.
Yeah, the ice cube in the 26-degree room.
Yeah.
Can you just paint that picture for us?
Okay, so imagine an ice cube.
Okay.
Sitting in a room.
Got it.
Where the temperature is a brisk 26 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay, so it's cold.
Yeah, definitely below freezing.
Yeah. The ice cube is happy.
Ice cube's solid.
Yeah.
Now imagine the room slowly starts to warm up.
Okay.
Just 1 degree at a time.
Okay.
So it goes to 27. Then 28.
Yeah.
29. 30.
Still cold.
Still cold. And throughout this gradual increase, that ice cube stays stubbornly frozen.
Okay.
You see absolutely no change.
Yeah.
It's just like, come on already.
Yeah. It's like, I'm putting in the effort. The temperature is going up.
Yeah.
Nothing is happening.
Right.
I've been there.
Oh, yeah. We all have.
With so many things in life.
Absolutely.
And this is where the like really critical part of the analogy comes in.
Yeah.
So the temperature keeps climbing.
Yeah.
31 degrees. Still nothing. But then suddenly.
At 32 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Just 1 single degree warmer.
Yeah.
That ice cube starts to melt.
Okay.
It's a really dramatic shift after all that seemingly stagnant effort.
It's like, boom, all of a sudden change.
It's like, where did that come from?
Yeah, it was like nothing. And then all at once, everything.
Right.
So what's the takeaway here?
The core message is that so many people give up on new things precisely when they don't see those immediate dramatic results.
Right. It's like they hit that 30-degree mark and they're like, well, nothing's happening.
Yeah. I don't know.
This isn't working.
I'm going to go watch TV.
Yeah. And they don't realize that like success is often the result of all those like seemingly insignificant small actions. It's those little 1-degree increases.
The tiny nudges.
Yeah, that have been happening all along.
That no one's paying attention to.
They're just not seeing it.
Yeah.
And it's like they're just moments away from their breakthrough.
Right.
Yeah. Their 32-degree moment.
Right.
But they stop just before it happens.
They quit at 31.
Yeah, and it's so easy to do that.
So easy.
In all areas of life.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you're working out. You're like, I don't see my abs yet. I'm done.
Right, exactly.
You know?
Yeah, you're trying to build a business and you're like, I haven't made $1 million yet. So
yeah, I'm out of here.
Right.
Yeah, and it's such a powerful way to visualize it.
It is.
And I think it really makes you pause and think.
Absolutely.
Like, are there areas, the listener, in your own life where you might be at your 30 degrees,
right,
where you've been putting in the effort, you've been consistent, but you're just not seeing that big shift yet,
right?
And what is that small additional change, that extra degree of effort,
Yeah.
that could be the thing that finally pushes you past that melting point.
I love that.
You know?
That little extra degree that gets you there.
Yeah. And if we tie this back to the 1% rule,
Yeah.
it really underscores the importance of patience and persistence.
For sure.
Because those small daily improvements, they might not be immediately visible,
right,
but they are steadily contributing to that eventual breakthrough.
They're working in the background.
Even if you can't see it.
Yeah, behind the scenes.
Yeah.
That ice cube is getting closer and closer.
To 32 degrees?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got this idea of like small improvements adding up over time.
Yeah.
And then your sources highlight this other really interesting example.
Yeah.
This time from the world of finance.
Right.
Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett.
Certainly a name that comes up a lot.
Oh, yeah.
When you talk about success.
He's kind of the poster child for long-term success.
Yeah.
And I think he's a perfect illustration of the power of compounding, which is essentially the 1% rule applied over a really long period.
So like decades.
Yeah. Decades.
Okay.
And it's kind of crazy to realize that like 99% of his considerable wealth
99%
was accumulated after he turned 50.
After 50.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I mean,
it really reframes how we think about building success.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, because you think of these like, you see all these headlines.
Overnight successes.
Yeah, like, oh, this person just became a billionaire overnight.
Right.
And it's like, well, no, it was actually
decades of work.
Yeah, this slow burn.
Yeah.
That you didn't see.
Behind the scenes.
Right.
Until it all kind of came to fruition.
So with Warren Buffett, it wasn't about like, hitting a few home runs with these like massive investments.
Right.
It was this consistent investing.
Yeah, he started early.
Yeah.
And he just stayed consistent.
And
he let those small steady gains just compound and grow.
It's like the financial world's version of the British cycling team. It's like all these tiny little things. Yeah, just adding up over time. Adding up over and over and over again.
And what's interesting is that, your sources give some really relatable examples to show how this compounding works in everyday life.
Not just with money.
Not just with money, no.
Okay, like what?
Think about the simple act of reading.
Okay.
Just 10 pages a day.
10 pages? That doesn't sound like a lot.
It doesn't sound like a lot.
Yeah.
But over a year, that adds up to roughly 18 books.
18 books?
Yeah. I mean, think about...
Just from 10 pages a day?
Just from 10 pages a day.
That's amazing.
I mean, the wealth of knowledge, the new perspectives you could gain from that one consistent small habit.
It's like you're barely even trying.
Right.
And you're reading 18 books a year.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Or take the example of exercising.
Yeah.
15 minutes each day.
15 minutes. I can do 15 minutes.
Right. That doesn't sound like a lot.
No, not at all.
But it totals around 91 hours of physical activity.
91 hours?
Over the course of a year.
From 15 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Okay, that's blowing my mind right now.
It's incredible.
Like I'm rethinking my whole life.
Right.
Okay, so the big message here is that it's the consistency of those small actions that really makes the difference.
It's not about those like, big bursts of effort.
New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about playing the long game. You know, those sustained application of those 1% improvements.
Just every day.
Yeah, every single day.
Just chipping away at it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've looked at these really compelling examples. We've got, the incredible turnaround of the British cycling team.
Right.
We've got the message of perseverance from the ice cube theory and the long-term perspective of Warren Buffett.
Right.
But how do we actually take this 1% rule and put it into practice?
This is the million-dollar question.
Yeah, how do we actually do this in our own lives?
And luckily, your sources